Hello everyone, how's it going? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Palantir Technologies. And of course, this is one of the most, talked about company on this channel. And it's for good reasons too. Because obviously, it's one of the most popular stocks in the stock market. And it's definitely one of the more interesting ones to cover as well. A lot of people have a lot of money invested in this company because they believe that with all the data that they have, with the creativity that they have, with the technology, the expertise, they really have a competitive edge compared to many of their competitors. Um, they also have a lot of good relationships with deep pocket entities in the public and private sectors. So this is really something that has been going on in the favor of Palantir. It has relationships that many other places may or may not have. Now, in 2023, I would say that this year has so far been excellent for Palantir. And even if right now we might be talking about a slight slump because they went from $20 to like $18 or whatever, it's still been a pretty good ride because we went from like below $10 to almost double its price. However, in recent times, there has been some doubts about where Palantir is and where it's going to go. So the worries of Palantir were highlighted by, the presentation given by a US Defense Department or US Army official recently. They said that there's going to be some discussion to be had when the $458 million contract for the Army data platform is due for renewal, because there is some friction between the client and Palantir over the ownership of the said data points. So the contract began in 2019 and it's going to probably end within weeks. So this is the main reason why people have been selling off Palantir over the recent weeks. Of course, there's also another one that maybe the analyst has been glancing through, which is this. The stock has been rising for quite a few months at this point in an environment that it's generally speaking bearish. There's very few reason, if any, to be optimistic about the economy of tomorrow, or in fact just the economy period. Many countries are heading towards recession if they're not in recession already. Of course, recession just means for a certain number of months, the economy has been shrinking. But once it's pronounced that, oh, okay, such and such country enters into recession, well, we've already been in this kind of environment for like 6 to 9 months. So this is why I believe that there are a few reasons in the real economy to, cheer about. So it would be surprising if the financial markets start on a bullish run. Of course, this is not the case with Nasdaq. However, we can't stop but kind of, wonder how come the prices have been able to hold their ground till now, right? That already doesn't really make sense. And frankly, that's because it doesn't. The market reflects our speculation, our more or less educated guess about how the future is going to be. So in the past few months, we've collectively said that, well, you know what? Palantir is great for two reasons. Number one, it has AI, or it does AI. I'm dumbing down words on purpose because this is probably what we think. Number one, because ChatGPT is great and Palantir is going to make that. So that's number one. Number two, because the company has become profitable overall, meaning they're capable of covering their own cash flow needs. Now, number two is really encouraging. Number one, I would say, is playing on the current trend. In other words, they don't really need, to supply a lot of proofs for this to become a hype. And so far, it has become a hype, right? we're collectively saying, you know what? AI is great. I love AI. Palantir is going to make AI, so I love Palantir. And the other thing is, whoa, you know what? It's so great that they can turn from a loss to a profit situation. So I'm gonna double down on it. And then that became like a self-fulfilling prophecy for Palantir. This is the current situation. Now, an analyst jumped up and said, you know what? I believe that things are not that rosy for Palantir going forward. But by doing so, he kind of created sort of like an avalanche of reactions, some of which are negative. So because of this, I would argue that number one, people are just waiting for an excuse to take profit and to wait and see, really, to wait and see where things can go. And people are also kind of sort of believing that, you know what, I think that a crisis is going to occur soon. I think that the market is going to go into a correction mode for the years to come. Right? I so far have like a few percentage of gains in Palantir. Let's cash that out. Let's cash that out, and never mind what's going to happen with the army contracts, with the revenue prospects for Palantir in the years to come. I do believe that we will eventually have an opportunity to benefit from a major price correction in the month and years to come. Just because we've never really had one for NASDAQ as a whole, and NASDAQ is way overdue for something like this. Way overdue. So this is my overall impression with how things are currently. Yes, Palantir is a great company. It is one of the few companies, I would say, that actually has a viable product. It's one of those companies with a gross profit margin that is positive, which means that at least their core business is valuable. Now, regarding like the other things, I would say that yes, a lot of companies, do research on data, they analyze data. It doesn't mean that they can do this. It doesn't mean that they have the means to perpetuate, relationships. Because ultimately, in order to get like very wealthy major clients on board, it cannot just be a mom and pop shop. It cannot just be one of those quote unquote tailor-made experiences because they're small, right? They cannot say they have the benefit of scale. But Palantir can say this, and I would say that they can have both. I believe that they're sophisticated enough to have like custom-made or customized platforms that they have developed that are off the shelf for like large clients, but also they have the economy of scale, or they have the benefit of scale, in the sense that they have enough people to handle huge projects. And also, what they really have going for them is the relationship that the company has maintained on Wall Street and also in DC. Because 60% of their revenue apparently comes from the public sector. So having friends in places that you need to have friends is definitely going to help. Now, does it mean that nobody else in that field has friends? Of course not. But do you guys still remember that Google at some point has worked with like the Defense Department, and then they've decided to withdraw from those said programs? Or that IBM has flat out declined to collaborate with some of those government entities? Well, exactly, right? So it means that the competition is there, but many firms are maybe not as trusted compared to Palantir. In fact, it's a bit of an irony that we're talking about trust right now, because they are kind of bickering about who should own the data. Is it Palantir or is it the client, aka the army? Anyway, so that is the current situation. I believe that going forward, we're gonna see some price corrections, either because of this or because of something else. Because Palantir is very ripe for a significant price correction. So either way, I believe that if you're watching this video, chances are you're very interested in the long-term development of this company and that you want to put your money in the long haul. If that's the case, I would say that it's better if you save a significant chunk of your capital for later, for next year or the year after and so on. For the time being, I would say that things are very expensive, and even though they may get to that kind of level, it doesn't really mean that they can do so in the short term. But of course, right now, as we record this video, Palantir is trading around $18.50, which is not that far away from $20 either. Like, if you look at the grand scheme of things, they haven't fallen off by that much, right? However, the main reason why people want to believe that, the party might be over is because there is a news saying, or there is like an article saying, you know what, I don't believe that Palantir is going to be the one. I don't believe that Palantir is going to have those juicy contracts forever. Well, you know what? Yes. In this case, in this case, it's kind of very hard to argue against these. But I would say that in the future, like beyond the next 12 months, beyond even the significant price correction that is going to occur either way, right? Palantir itself is a valuable company. And no matter how many competitors are in this field, no matter how good their codes are, there are things that cannot be measured by money. And that would be the reliability of Palantir in delicate situations. Not everyone wants to work with DOJ or DOE. No, sorry, not DOE, DOD. Right? Not everyone wants to work with them. And I would say that not everyone wants to work with ICE, right? With the PDs. So this is why overall we really have to look at Palantir from that perspective. In the sense that yes, many people are hustling for those data contracts, but do they have the guts to finish them? Do they have the guts to honor them? Do they have to worry about rebelling staff? I do believe that, at least for the time being, that Palantir does have the stomach to tolerate all these discomforts in accepting certain contracts. So this is why their top of the line and the bottom of the line are never going to look too ugly. Like, that is my reason why I believe that Palantir is a company that's worth investing into. But right now, patience would be definitely key in this endeavor. So, what I recommended you to buy Palantir, I mean, overall, universally, yes. But I don't believe that entering now is a wise choice. I believe that you should wait maybe 6 to 9 months before making a decision. Right now, things are just too volatile and also too expensive for a massive entry.